Good afternoon. Welcome to Plymouth, Michigan and the USA Hockey Arena as we're set for round 3 of 5 taking place today in the group stage of the 2018 Powerhockey Cup. It's an interesting matchup. We have a rematch of the 2014 and 2016 North American Championship. We have the Philadelphia PowerPlay, back-to-back runner-ups against the 4-time defending champions from Minnesota. I'm Brett Johnson, joined alongside by Mike York, kicking it old school like it's 2016, giving Patrick a little bit of a break. He's running camera in tonight's game. And Mike, this is a game I always look forward to between Philly and Minnesota. They put on some classics in the past, and this one should be no different. Although Minnesota's coming in on a tough note after losing to Michigan in their opening game this morning, 11-5. When was the last time Minnesota gave up 11 goals in a game? They're going to have their hands full here against this high-powered Philadelphia team.
Here we go as Chad Wilson kicks it up. Let's see what Philly has learned from the Michigan game here. Maybe they can hold Chad off here just like Michigan did, and let's see what improvements they can make on the last 2 years' performance.
Chad Wilson will carry it up through the center part of the floor. He's met by Philadelphia. That's Alex Pitts, who had a big championship game in Minnesota. I was going back and watching the archive of that championship game, and Pitts was a one-man wrecking crew in about the last 5 minutes of that game as he came very close getting that equalizing goal when Philly lost to Minnesota by a score of 4-3. Saxton dropped a pass to Pitts, who lifted a shot over the net. Carries into the corner where both teams will joust for that ball.
They both, Philly passes very well. They know where each other's at, and just playing very solid offense. And there's another pass.
There's an opening for Alex Pitts, who fired that just wide of the net. Very reminiscent of 2016, where he had a number of chances. Let's go ahead and watch that on replay. And Minnesota's got to shore up their defense going back to this morning as Michigan really burned the Saints. And again, we saw another possible defensive miscue there by Minnesota.
Yep, Philly coming in, also playing for, as we get maybe a chance here.
Yeah, out in front of the net, hit away by one of the Ritter boys. I always have trouble telling those two guys apart. They're both twins. They look the same. They are literal identical twins. They're also good players as well. And Philadelphia is going to have to touch up at the center line as they were offsides. Now they're good to go back into the zone. And check here is Chad Wilson. Try an outlet pass to the left side to Ritter. Ritter attempts a shot. That one's blocked up into the air by Alex Pitts. Saxton helping out there defensively on his backhand. He'll spin around into the corner. Saxton up through the center ice, trying to weave his way into the zone. He gets stopped by both Ritter and Chad Wilson. Here's Pitts trying a toe drag as he spins around. Pitts now works his way to the backhand. Met by Chad Wilson. Wilson poked it away. Now comes loose to Jake Saxton. Saxton spins around in the corner, looking for somewhere to go. Minnesota already, I think, doing a better job defensively, even though Philly's had the possession. Minnesota's been playing tight defensively, and that one deflected up. I believe Wimmergren may have gotten a piece of that for Minnesota.
I believe, yeah, I was going to say, Philly's kind of playing on a mission there. I can't really see it from this vantage point, but they have patches on their jerseys that says Pat. And they're playing for Pat Hilferty, and he was a good player. He was their manager and organizer, and he actually helped us get the stream for 2016. I was doing a lot of talking with him and had the great honor of streaming his broadcast for him there, and he definitely will be missed, and they're going to be playing for him to this entire tournament.
Yeah, power play playing with some heavy hearts in this tournament. Ball is loose near the face-off circle. Who wants it? It finally comes right to Ritter, who will just hit it up the boards. Now an opening for Chad Wilson. Don't want to give him space if you're Philadelphia. Drop pass to Ritter. Good decision there by Chad Wilson. I think he's trying to emphasize that he's going to try to get other players involved. Probably could have taken the shot himself. Would have been a tough one, but instead dropped it for Ritter, but a better defensive play by Philly. Here's Pitts dumping it down for Jake Saxton. Liam Miller, the other player you'll see up offensively for the power play, hasn't touched the ball yet, but he's been setting some picks, as he does right there against Ritter. Saxton with a tough angle shot. That one is blocked by Chad Wilson, who will gain possession in the near side corner. Now Wilson into the zone, takes a shot And D'Amico lost his stick as he made the save. That'd be a tough situation. The referee will actually help out, and now they'll try to get the stick to D'Amico. Different than ice hockey, where if you lose the stick, you're pretty much out of luck.
Yeah.
Oh, what a pass there to Saxton. Tough angle shot. That one gets deflected. Why now tries the wraparound. Wilson does a nice job there to help out. Mike, if you remember back to 16, Wilson played more of a defensive game where he wasn't. There's a long shot from Ritter in the meantime before we'll get back to that point in just a moment. Here's Saxton, the assistant captain, spinning around to his backhand. That's Nate Ritter defending him. Saxton, such a smooth driver and stick handler. Why, he's one of the best in North America.
Definitely. I heard his coach yelling out, patience, patience. Wait for something to develop here.
He's shown plenty of patience. Not trying to force anything in. Minnesota's doing a good job creating a wall on that line. Now we'll see if Pitts can try to set something up as he'll reset. Now he's going to be attacked by Ritter. Very patient game. Now they'll find an outlet to Saxton. Saxton, an impossible angle shot. That'll backhand wide of the net. Now sitting right back into the corner.
Good ball movement by Philly.
Picked up by Ritter, and now Chad Wilson. This, a much different feel than that Minnesota-Michigan game where it was kind of loosey-goosey, very finesse in that morning game. With a lot of offense, these two teams, I think, playing very locked in. Playing not to make really a lot of mistakes. Trying to dig it out. Been very tough to move and find any openings thus far. Very defensive type game. Ritter will try to create a breakout. Good back check there by Philadelphia. And that'll deflect right into the foot plates, I should say, of Anthony D'Amico, getting the start in net tonight for Philadelphia. We'll also probably see Aaron Gordon, the other Philadelphia goaltender, at some point during this tournament. Check in on the stream. You can always leave comments if you're watching on Facebook. This Philadelphia Minnesota broadcast. Love to hear from you throughout. A couple of people saying go Pitts and go power play. Now we have a lot of Philly fans watching. That puck loose in front, and they score. That was deflected in. Josh Twight making an immediate impact as he enters the game. Not sure whether he or Chad Wilson got that one, but either way, Minnesota's on the board first. They lead 1-0.
It was kind of just sitting there in the crease, nobody able to cover it up or clear it away in time for them to take the Saints to take advantage.
I think Wilson, with his long reach, was able to poke that in. Yeah, that was someone on Philly's got to have some awareness to cover that up. That ball was just sitting there for about 2 seconds, and if you let that ball just sit there and sit there and sit there, someone's going to eventually poke it home, especially a player as good as Chad Wilson. So 1-0 now. Minnesota with a lead over Philadelphia. Going back to the past 2 tournaments, I don't believe Philadelphia has ever had a lead against the Minnesota Saints in any game. Trying to change that here in this game. There's Chad Wilson working his way into the power play zone. Pitts will bring it under his chair with good defensive play. Now it's loose out in front. A couple players swatting at it, including Josh Twight, just entering the game. Twight along with Ritter down near the goal mouth area. Wilson also going to join the attack. A lot of traffic out there in front of the net. Comes loose. And this is Jake Saxton. Saxton towards the slot. Doesn't have much of an angle for a shot. He's met by Twight. Helped out by Liam Miller and also Alex Pitts. Pitts on his backhand. His shot blocked by the defenseman for Minnesota, I believe Wimmergren. 7:55 to go first period. The Saints on top 1-0 on a Chad Wilson goal. On a ball that was just sitting right in front of the power play net. Here's Saxton. And, oh, nice job. Twight's really had an impact, I think, defensively, not giving. Oh, what a goal. What a shot and a goal. I was just going to credit Minnesota not giving Saxton a lot to work with, but that's just a great shot by Jake Saxton. Not a lot you can do if you're Minnesota.
No, that was a great shot. Weaved his way in, found a good spot, and made it happen.
Let's take a look at the replay. You'll see Minnesota initially do a good job there with Wimmergen and Twite, but then when Saxton spins around to his backhand, he just makes a tremendous shot. I don't know how you stop that one.
I don't know. But kids, that's why you always use a backhand.
Yeah. Minnesota played him perfectly, but once Saxton spun around to his backhand, he just was able to flick that into the net. So we're 1-1 between the power play and the Saints. Coming up during the first intermission, we'll try to post some of these goals on Facebook, some highlights, including that Jake Saxton goal we just had a moment ago. Here's Saxton again, trying to Liam Miller. Miller deflecting it towards the goal, and it trickles just wide. Here's a look at the replay of what you just saw. Miller just out of his reach. He couldn't quite get enough of deflection on it. Let's watch it again one more time. Kind of a bouncing ball, too, made it tough, but a good save there by Minnesota. Who's in goal tonight for Minnesota, by the way, there, Mike, if you can get a look at it? Is that Heinz they have back in goal?
No, it's not Heinz. It's, it looks like, let me see here. It looks like it's Chelsea Knutson.
Chelsea Knutson, I should say. Nope,
Knutson,
the K is silent on that one.
Okay.
I remember from the phonetic pronunciations we got. Yeah, so Knutson getting the start. Sarah Heinz, normally the goalie for Minnesota. She played a couple minutes of the Michigan game, then unfortunately had to leave. Won't speculate on what happened, but either way, she's out of the game, and Minnesota's tried a couple of different netminders in the meantime. Knutson, also Cynthia Hughley also saw some time as well for the Saints.
And actually, Cynthia Hughley, now they just, right when I look down, they switched goalies again, and Hughley is in now.
They're keeping us on our toes, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Josh Twite, the veteran forward for the Saints. Working good defense there, played by Luke Hoban. Don't call his name a lot since he's a defenseman for Philadelphia, but he's certainly a good one as well. And just made a nice play stopping Josh Twite. And this is Alex Pitts for the power play. Pitts across the center line. Try to lift it. Oh, what a pretty pass to Jake Saxton, and they score. Wow, what a pass. Pitts to Saxton, and the power play have their first ever lead on Minnesota as they go up 2-1. Pretty play by the power play. That's one we're for sure going to be posting on Facebook coming up during the intermission. Let's get you a look at that one. Look at Pitts just weave his way from the far side to the near side. Take a look at this lift pass out in front of Jake Saxton. He was able to beat Ritter. Ritter a little slow on the back check, and that's something Minnesota struggled with in the Michigan game. But a tremendous pass from Pitts to Saxton. Power play on top, 2-1. There's Chad Wilson. He gets bottled up near center ice, now deflected back to the end wall. Jake Saxton stick handling in a dangerous area. Oh, another good outlet pass to Pitts. Boy, did his play well. Now back to Saxton. Oh, they just put on a clinic with their passing here, don't they, Mike?
They do. It's beautiful passing. Like I said before, they have to do passing. But odd man rush.
Oh, and look at the back check there, Alex Pitts. Not one that shows up on the highlight reel, but a good poke check as he was moving back on defense. Philadelphia definitely engaged in this game. And now here comes Philadelphia again, and we have a whistle, I think, offsides. Let's go back. I think I do have that back check on replay. You're going to see it from just a second ago if I can find it. Trying to do play-by-play and producing, so if we can find it, I'll show it to you. But just a really solid defensive play a moment ago by Alex Pitts. Here you go, right here. Mike, check this out on the replay, too. Look at the back check. It looked like Wilson and Ritter all alone.
Yep, just slapped his stick.
Yeah, slapped away by Alex Pitts, yeah. Here's Chad Wilson. Wilson lifts a shot. Oh, good back wheel save by Anthony D'Amico. Wilson is such a dangerous player where he can score from just about anywhere on the floor. And he almost did, but a good save on the back wheel. Now they play it over to the far side to Pitts. Held in by Saxton. And Liam Miller, their third offensive player, doesn't really show up a lot on the score sheet, but it does a nice job setting picks. And again, Pitts, another poke check with that stick, giving these Minnesota forwards some trouble. Saxton and Wilson battling for it along the near side corner. Saxton will gain possession. Liam Miller, kind of the unsung hero, setting a nice pick on Twite. Saxton trying to dig against it against Chad Wilson. Wilson and Saxton work their way to the corner. Who's got it? Someone's still trying to dig for it down there. And it'll be Pitts. A lot of bodies down there, but no one with clear possession. And now it comes away to Twite. Twite and Ritter have a 2-on-0 if they hurry. Here is Ritter. Ritter takes a shot. D'Amico makes the save, now loose out in front and cleared to safety by Alex Pitts. In fact, he might create a counter opportunity, a counter rush. Pitts, oh, what another pass too.
Oh, it's a goal. Look at that.
A goal. And I think that's got to be helped out there by Jake Saxton. Saxton's not going to get the goal or the assist, but he was in the way, kind of blocking the vision of Knutson, making life tough on her. And it is 3-1 Philadelphia. And what's your mindset here by Minnesota? You're the 4-time defending champs. You just lost to Michigan 11-5. Now you're trailing Philadelphia 3-1.
Just, man, there's nothing really they can do right now. I mean, they've tried all options here. They've mixed and matched their lines here. Just nothing seems to be going their way this start of the tournament here.
A goal for Alex Pitts. Boy, is he a skilled player. I thought he was trying to initially pass that to Saxton. I thought Saxton maybe even blocked the vision of Knutson. That wasn't the case. It was just a good shot by Pitts, as we saw on the replay just a moment ago. Pitts and Saxton are a dangerous combination. Minnesota's going to have to find an answer for those two players. Pass a little too far in front of Liam Miller. Now it's Ritter on the far side boards. Here's Jacob Ritter. That one bounces just wide of the net.
Nice little play in the middle there, trying to find space. Liam Miller playing great defense there.
Yeah, Liam Miller blocked that centering pass. Now it's loose, and they will whistle it dead as it was under the chair of Anthony D'Amico. Coming up during the intermission, we'll try to post some of those highlights. I have all 4 of the goals, 1 by Minnesota, 3 by Philadelphia. Try to get those all in during the intermission. Lots of people watching on the stream. Thank you for tuning into our broadcast of the 2018 Power Hockey Cup. Appreciate you watching. This is Chad Wilson for Minnesota,
again,
met by Saxton.
Doing a good job of keeping him out of the middle.
Yeah, I think Philadelphia probably took some notes when they saw what Minnesota did, but that's what Minnesota needs to do right there. What a pass, and then a good shot there by Ritter. Yeah, when Wilson gets met at the center line like that, he's got to pass it off to somebody else, and that's what he just did in that situation, finding the open Ritter, because if you double team Wilson like that, cutting him off, someone should be open for a pass.
So they've improved on that strategy too, where Wilson couldn't find anybody open to pass, and they finally got people to open
Ritter
pass too.
Picks the pocket of Jake Saxton, and then Hoban does a nice job coming out to meet him on defense. Now it's back to Jake Saxton, stick handling along the corner, trying to center it to Liam Miller. Miller nearly lifts that in instead of hit to the side of the net. Approaching the 1-minute mark in the first period. It is Minnesota out in front 3-1. Here's an odd man rush for the Saints. Centering pass blocked by Pitts. In fact, they'll turn it over as Pitts will gain possession. Pitts across the center line, and they're going to say Saxton was just ahead of the play, whistle at offsides with 47 seconds left.
Heard some shouting here from the referee, the coach there. Not a fan of a call there, I guess. Just can hear him shouting from here.
It was tight. When they said Saxton was just barely ahead of that center line. And off the faceoff, won by Minnesota. There's a long shot from Chad Wilson, and D'Amico just gets a piece of it. I think that's why the Philadelphia coach was not happy about that, because you get a faceoff in your own zone and Minnesota wins it. You're looking at a scoring chance from Chad Wilson. Now it's Saxton into the Minnesota zone. His centering pass is blocked by Wimmergren. Saxton digging for it. He's battled by Wimmergren and Wilson. Getting to it is Ritter from the corner. Ritter looking for an outlet pass. That one's blocked by the Philadelphia defense. Hoban slows it down for Pitts. 3 seconds to go. Time for maybe one more chance for Saxton. Can't really get a clean look at it. He'll lift it wide, and that is the end of period one. Philadelphia on top of Minnesota 3-1 at the 2018 Power Hockey Cup. Ready for the start of the second period. It is Philadelphia on top of Minnesota by a score of 3-1. As Philly will gain possession in their own zone. This is Alex Pitts. Glad to have you with us on this afternoon, Tuesday afternoon. I kind of lose track of days with that 4th of July holiday. Now popped up into the air. This is Liam Miller. Chad Wilson digging forward in the corner. Very surprising tournament. Minnesota on the verge of possibly going 0-2. Who would have thunk that? Oh, we got a long way to go in this game. Still a lot of time for this high-powered Minnesota offense to get back into the game. We got both Jacob and Nathan Ritter on the floor. Deflected in, and a goal.
Wow, good deflection.
Liam Miller scores for Philadelphia. And it is 4-1. And I don't know if it's time to start sounding the alarm, but Minnesota could be in some trouble here.
Ring, ring.
And we'll get you the camera in just a second. I think our battery ran out. Mike will go ahead and get that replaced. In the meantime, you'll get a look at our secondary camera. That's 4-1, Philadelphia with the lead. Here's Saxton stick handling near center ice. We'll get you a replay of that Liam Miller goal in just a second for Philadelphia. Back at center, it's deflected in to the Philadelphia zone. Ritter trying to go across to his brother Nathan. And now shot up towards center ice. Deflected by Wimmergren. Now possession gained by Chad Wilson. Here's Chad Wilson from the far side. And along the far side boards, battle for the ball, tied up near the scoreboard. Should have our main camera back. Quick work by Mike York. Give you credit there for switching that camera battery quickly on the fly.
I didn't realize we were already down.
Yeah.
That way.
13 minutes to go in the second period. 4-1 Philadelphia. Hey, Mike, a little production meeting here. We can do that between periods. There we go.
There we go.
Always fun to have those on-air production meetings, right?
That's right.
We got a 4-1 lead for Philadelphia. They try to lift another pass to Pitts. Gets deflected into the far side corner. Wilson and Saxton will battle for the ball. Still trying to dig for it in that corner. And now Ritter. They got both Ritters on the floor. They started that way in the Minnesota-Michigan game. Then they brought Josh Twite, Ben Hafner, and a couple others on. They started this game with both Ritters. Then they switched back to Twite. Now they've gone back to the Ritters. I think Minnesota's just struggling to find a combination that can get the ship turned around, because so far it's been tough sledding for this Saints team. Now turned over. Wilson turns it over. Open to Saxton in the slot, but the ball just bounces over his stick. Tough break there for Philadelphia. It's been all power play in this second period. Not many chances for Minnesota. The power play have had the better of the chances. Now Saxton into the offensive zone. Will stick handle into the corner. He's met by Wilson. Now lifted over, nearly swatted out of the air by Alex Pitts. That would have been a highlight reel goal if he was able to hit that out with kind of that baseball type swing.
That was definitely a
now into the high slot, hard laser type shot. Now still loose out in front. Is it going in? No, just trickles wide. Scoring chance there for power play. They are really clicking right now. Now they try to go across to Chad Wilson. And Wilson, again, just being met by a number of defenders. They try to get a cross pass, and good back check there by Jake Saxton. I think maybe getting a piece on that. It was a backdoor pass that Wilson was trying to send across to Nathan Ritter. I think Saxton may have got a piece of it. Now Philly with possession, dangerous area to stick handle. It's Saxton on the left wing boards. He's met by Ritter. Spin around to his backhand. Try to lift it to Alex Pitts, trying that baseball type swing again. Toronto had a lot of ugly goals in our last game against Ottawa. Philadelphia's going for those pretty highlight type goals.
They are. They're going really for those pretty goals. And looks like.
And they score! One of the Ritter brothers is able to sneak that past D'Amico. And it's 4-2 as Minnesota gets some momentum back.
Minnesota usually scores those pretty goals, but it looks like this tournament they're going to have to get those down and dirty ones.
Just a good shot there by Ritter. Look at this again. Was able to sneak it by the wheels of the goaltender for Philadelphia, D'Amico, and we're only at a 4-2 game. So while those highlight reel goals are nice, can't fall in love with those because they don't always work, and then you can allow your opponent to get back into the game. So that's Nathan Ritter that picks up the goal. I was going to let the PA announcer tell me which one of the Ritter brothers scored that one. Long shot from Chad Wilson. That was on net as well. But a good save there by D'Amico. He's come up with some nice saves for Philly. Now we get a look. Is that Ben Hafner on the far side? Hafner has entered the game for the Saints.
Another combination they go to.
Hafner, another one of those veterans on this Saints team. In recent years hasn't played a whole lot, but he's still someone they can count on when they need him. And I think Minnesota might need him in this tournament since it's been some tough sledding for the Saints. Chad Wilson picks it up in the corner. 4-2, the power play lead the Saints. Live from the USA Hockey Arena in Plymouth, Michigan. Wilson works his way into the zone. A shot denied, now tries the wraparound. Liam Miller meets him there to cut it off. Now works his way into the goal mouth area. This is going to be a tough play to him. Oh, and he doesn't pull the trigger. I'm surprised there, Mike. I thought he had an open shot at the net.
I thought he did too. That's his patented maneuvers, kind of circling like prey and trying to find the spot to hit.
Didn't pull the trigger. Now someone who does pull the trigger is Alex Pitts, but he'll fire it out of play. As we'll have a face-off, I believe, in the Minnesota zone.
Jacob equals the red chair, and Nathan equals the blue chair.
There we go. It's one way to tell them apart since they look exactly the same. Both good young players as well. We talked about how this Philly team is still young with Pitts and Saxton still teenagers. The Ritter boys also young themselves. It's not like they're old veterans yet either. They're still young guys. I believe they're in their early 20s, maybe late teens. I don't know their exact age. Future is bright for power hockey with some of these guys you're seeing out there on the floor.
Yeah, you think about it here in this game right now. Wilson's the old man of the game.
Yeah, and he's only, I think, 32, 33 years old. Carried into the zone by Pitts. Pitts tried to drop it for Liam Miller, but that's a tough turnover to the Minnesota Saints. Backhanded into the zone by Ritter. And now behind the net, it'll be Miller picking it up again. Got to be careful with turnovers near center ice, especially in your own zone, because here's Chad Wilson. Didn't get a lot on that shot. And now it's passed over to Jake Saxton. Lifts it, tries a far side post, but trickled wide, and now it's dumped into the Philadelphia zone. 4-2, power play on top of the Saints. Not the 11-5 scoring fest we had in the Minnesota-Michigan game earlier this morning.
Slower pace. This is more accurate to what you're going to see between these two teams, yeah.
Try to give and go. I think give Minnesota some credit here. I think they've tightened things up defensively in this second period. We haven't really seen a lot of grade A Philadelphia chances. In fact, I think Philadelphia's best chances have been those kind of highlight reel baseball swing type plays where you're trying to hit the ball out of the air.
Yeah.
Minnesota's not letting them have a lot of room like Philadelphia did back in the first period. 6:46 to go in period number 2. This is Jake Saxton, deflected out by Ritter. Now met by a Philadelphia defenseman. Got to be careful there. You don't want to leave your goaltender D'Amico all alone. That's a tall task for a level 3 goaltender to make a save all on their own. Here's Pitts. Pitts lifts one and he scores. Alex Pitts, 5-2 Philadelphia. His second goal on the night. And that Philly offense is back on track.
Whitmegren went out to try to cut off Pitts, but he made a nice little stick move and almost, maybe even screened the goalie a little bit.
Yeah, let's take a look at this here. We'll see Pitts lift around. Yeah, you're right, Mike. I think Limmergren may have blocked the vision of Knutson from even seeing that shot.
Hughley was in goal.
Or Hughley, I should say, yeah.
But they are taking Hughley out, and now look at this. They're putting Whitmegren in as goal.
Interesting. That is not something I've seen in the 3 years I've covered the Power Hockey Cup.
Saints just trying every little mix and match.
Yeah, I mean, normally when we see the Saints putting players in different positions or emptying the bench, it's because they're well ahead of their opponents.
Yeah.
Not because they're trailing and trying to find a combination that works.
Just playing that Arby's style, that mix and match.
The mix and match Arby's style. Oh my word. They got to find a winning combination at some point, though, or Minnesota's going to find themselves at an 0-2 record to start off this tournament. And here is Jake Saxton. He has a break. Saxton scores! Saxton found some room on a breakaway, and it's 6-2 Philadelphia. It looked like Minnesota had this Philadelphia offense bottled up a few minutes ago, but now Philly's found the right combination, and someone's got to get a wheelchair on Saxton. Look at him just split 2 Minnesota defenders and work his way in. I know the Minnesota guys are trying hard, but you can't let someone kind of go coast to coast like that and split your defense and go in on a breakaway.
Well, you know, they're playing for Pat there, and they're doing a great job of it.
Yeah, Minnesota's just got to find a way to tighten things up defensively. They've given up an uncharacteristic amount of goals. In fact, 17 goals through the first 4+ periods of this tournament. I probably ventured, going back to 2014, Mike, that Minnesota may have not given up 17 goals during that entire tournament.
No, definitely not at all. They've had their defense very much on
Here's
lock.
another opportunity for Jake Saxton. Takes a shot, he scores. Saxton with another breakaway, and Philadelphia's running wild here with their offense.
That's right, that Hogan offense that's running wild, brother.
Yeah, the train is coming down the tracks, and it's coming down hard here for this Philadelphia offense. Look at this again. This one's literally another coast-to-coast play, and Saxton just showing off a ton of speed. And you get him one-on-one, he's certainly going to be tough to stop, even for a player as good as Matt Limmergren. And Philadelphia, I think they would agree with us if we were to talk to them as well, that they want to keep their pedal to the metal, because this Saints team, even though they're trailing 7-2, they are very capable of launching a comeback.
They are definitely able to come back here and just keep it going. They have all the momentum, but they are They're just going to keep doing it.
So 7-2 Philadelphia. Saxton with another long shot. Head saved by Wimmergren. Now on the rebound, it's Liam Miller scores, and it's 8-2 Philadelphia. And see if Minnesota maybe tries to regroup here with a timeout, because they might be a little shell-shocked right now.
They are. They're going to do another switch here. Let's see who they're going to pull out now for goalie. And they will put out Heinz now for goalie.
Yeah, so Heinz will make her return. I know Wimmergren got burned for 3 goals, but it's tough to blame him. He's a guy who's, as far as I can tell, probably hasn't played little, if any, goal before. It's tough to throw him in there in that situation. He certainly has the skill, but if you don't have the reps playing in goal, that's
definitely.
It's a tough situation to put yourself in.
They're just trying everything, and you know,
yeah.
they didn't box out or anything out that rebound.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not like he necessarily did a poor job. He's certainly skilled, but it's tough when you're going against these high-powered players like Miller, Saxton, and Pitts. You're getting your first goaltending opportunity against them in the North American Power Hockey Cup. Philadelphia is going to try to keep the accelerator on right now, up 8-2. Now Minnesota tries to create some chances, and they get a much-needed goal. Backhanded in by Ritter, and they make it 8-3.
Yep, don't go to sleep on Minnesota. You got to keep putting on the pressure. Otherwise, that can happen.
Here's a look at the replay. Just backhanded in, and it just snuck behind the wheel of Anthony D'Amico. Just a good shot there by Ritter. They're going to need more of those, a lot more for Minnesota. So Jacob Ritter with a great shot. Putting the ball in just the right place. Now here's Saxton. Let's see if he's going to try to go coast to coast again. There is Saxton, passes it over to Pitts. Pitts takes a shot and blocked by, is that Twite there, or who's on defense now for Minnesota?
It's Joe Hughley.
Joe Hughley playing a little defense now for the Saints. Came up with a good block just a moment ago. Now the other way here is Saxton. Saxton lifts it in and scores. Jake Saxton, 9-3. Philadelphia.
Well, you can tell that Saints are trying to go for all offense and just getting burned and getting back here.
Yeah, it's what they're trying to. When you're down 8-3, you kind of have to sell out a little bit offensively, which can expose you on the other side. Wimmergren going to go back on defense. I mean, when you're facing a player, if it's just your defenseman and your goaltender against someone like Saxton or Pitts, probably 3 times out of 4, they're going to beat you. Definitely. Just because they have that much skill. Not a lot either Hughley or Heinz could do there. Now it's 9-3 Philadelphia. Looking for more. Saxton will lift that shot just up and out of play. 3:08 to go in the second period.
Boys from Philly are definitely having a good time with this one.
Definitely bringing it. I just can't get my head around now. Get this. We're 4+ periods into this tournament, and Minnesota has now given up 20 goals. That is just a stat I think not many people would believe if you were heading into this tournament saying that through 4+ periods, Minnesota would have given up 20.
A lot of people from Minnesota are probably going to hate me for this, but this is kind of looking like the Eagles-Vikings game.
Oh, man. I know the Philadelphia PowerPlay fans are probably happy about that. Yeah, it is kind of reminiscent where it was kind of close for a while, and the Eagles broke that game open against the Vikings, and it's kind of been the same MO here in this game with a 9-3 Philadelphia lead. Trying a wraparound is Jacob Ritter. And is it under the chair? It is. Did not sneak under the chair of D'Amico, so we'll have a face-off in the Philadelphia zone. We'll have highlights posted in the post-game. We have a lot of them for Philadelphia. Minnesota, even though they're trailing 9-3, they've had a couple of nice shots as well. I want to get that Jacob Ritter shot that he had a few minutes ago where he was able to sneak that behind the back wheel of D'Amico. He had a nice shot, so we'll try to get as many highlights as we can, probably posted during post-game. We're a little short-handed right now since we're giving our usual announcer, Patrick, a break.
Well,
tough to call 5 games in one day, yeah. So we're giving him a break and rocking a 2-man crew in this game. Here's Jake Saxton as he'll dump it into the corner. Wimmergren there as well. As you talked about, I think we were talking about this in the car trip, Wimmergren's also a really good offensive player. In fact, he used to be an offensive player earlier in his career. Now he's kind of made himself a level 3 guy who primarily plays on defense. But he's certainly a guy that Minnesota could use as an option on the attack as well. Saxton scores! Jake Saxton.
Wow.
Somehow sneaks that through on the near side post, and it's 10-3 Philadelphia.
You know, we watched this kid grow up from being a 12-year-old.
Oh, I got to correct you. He was 11 years old when we
11.
saw him in 2014, and I think he led that entire tournament in scoring. And I kind of nonchalantly called that goal because he's had so many highlight reel type goals, but that was a nice job to kind of just sneak that in on that near side post. Minute 30 to go in the second period. It's all Philadelphia. Here's Chad Wilson, and he'll lift that up and out of play.
Actually, that's one of the many shots, few shots that actually Chad has had.
Yeah, that's a good point. We've been talking so much about the Philadelphia offense, but that's a really good point. He's kind of had a quiet game for the Saints early on in this one. Well, throughout the whole game, I should say, not just early on, during the whole game. Now Saxton will weave his way into the zone. Saxton will drop it for Pitts. Pitts attempts a long shot, and that one's blocked. I believe Minnesota has switched in another new goaltender. We'll try to get you a name and number on that. And Minnesota is offsides, and some frustrations showed there from Chad Wilson.
Yep, that's Gordy Foster in that.
Gordy Foster will play for the Saints. They've had, I think, through these first 2 games, attempted at least 4, if not, I think, 5 different
goalies.
Goaltenders.
Hey, maybe I'll get off camera and I'll go out there and try to. Probably won't do any better.
Yeah. Well, it's tough to blame the Minnesota goaltenders. The defense and the forwards haven't exactly helped them out as well. It's been just a tough night for the entire team and a tough day for the Saints. Under 1 minute to go, 39 seconds. Ball tied up along the end wall behind the Philadelphia net. Nathan Ritter and Jacob Ritter trying to dig it out. Along with the Philadelphia defenseman. Helped out there by Alex Pitts. What's kind of interesting here, Mike, you see Philadelphia up 10-3, and you kind of wonder, well, Philadelphia, why don't you put some of your reserves in? I don't think you really can with how quickly Minnesota could potentially come back. I don't think a 10-3 lead is necessarily safe against this Saints team.
No, it definitely isn't.
Down to 2.6 seconds left, and depending on where this face-off is, someone, if it's at center ice, probably not any scoring opportunities unless someone makes an incredible shot, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. Drop it, it'll trickle into the zone. Maybe one shot for Saxton, but he's met by the Minnesota defenseman Wimmergren, and that will end the second period. It has been all Philadelphia Flyers power play. They are on top of the Minnesota Saints 10-3 after 2 periods. Welcome back to the USA Hockey Arena in Plymouth, Minnesota. Surprising score, as I'll bring up the score bug. You might be a little surprised to see it if you're just joining us. It is not an error. It is indeed 10-3 Philadelphia on top of Minnesota. Saints have really struggled in this tournament. They lost to Michigan 11-5, and now they're having all sorts of trouble with Philadelphia. as the power play offense has just been tremendous here in this game. There's another shot, and that one's turned away by Minnesota.
This is new too. Wilson's not even
America, and there's some times in the second period where you could tell he was getting frustrated, and understandably so when you're used to winning just about every game you play, and now you're getting blown out in 2 games. It's definitely kind of a change of pace, so they've taken him out, maybe give him a chance here to regroup, a little grit, and give some other Minnesota players a chance to play. And that one did not go in. Wow. That was close. That was kind of a pinball type thing, wasn't it? Deflected off the defender, the goalie. I think the pipe was in there. We'll get a look at that replay on the next stoppage. That was a pinball game. You would get a good amount of points on that one.
Yeah. Lots of points there.
Still 10-3 Philadelphia on top.
I know for me and Brett, this is new for us watching.
Yeah,
this.
I'm just kind of surprised myself that we were our play-by-play announcer, our normal play-by-play guy, Patrick, was asking when we were talking about this game during the intermission, saying, well, did Minnesota lose anybody from the past 2 championship teams? And really not. It's pretty much the same cast and crew that's back for this Saints team. Here's Saxton working his way in, and that one's deflected by Matt Wimmergren. Yeah, it's largely the same team, and we've just had some trouble here on this day 1 of the 2018 Power Hockey Cup.
Yeah, like what you said, we kind of noticed that even in the next warm-up game, not a lot of the Saints came out to warm up again.
Yeah, we noticed that in the Michigan game, the Mustangs were out here warming up about a half hour before the game. Most of the Minnesota players didn't get out here till about 5 or 10 minutes before the game, and that's kind of the case in this one too. Not saying that's necessarily the reason, but they just certainly don't look like their usual selves in this tournament. Jacob Ritter along the far side boards. Ritter met by a couple of Philadelphia players. And, of course, we do want to give the power play a lot of credit because Pitts and Saxton have certainly been putting on a show. Liam Miller's been getting involved as well. There's a shot by Pitts that goes wide, picked up by Miller along the end wall. You give up, if you make any defensive mistakes, teams as good as Philadelphia and Michigan are going to make you pay for it. And that's certainly been the case today. Limmergren has it caught under his feet, still playing on. Now possession momentarily gained by Pitts. I think he got a stick there from Josh Twite, and I got to say it was deflected out of play.
We got Aaron Gordon now going into the net for Philly. Good switch there. So D'Amico had a very nice game.
Yeah, I mean, when your team scores 10 goals, you don't really talk about your goalie a whole lot, but D'Amico certainly did have some good saves, especially in that first period against Minnesota when the game was more competitive. And, that one, another pinball type play. I think that deflected off the crossbar twice and also the goaltender for Minnesota.
Here's a chance here.
Here's a shot for Nathan Ritter, and Aaron Gordon able to make the save. Gordon and D'Amico sometimes split time for Philadelphia. Both of them are very solid goaltenders. Pitts backs up, stick handles, now spins. Pestered by Jacob Ritter, now met by Josh Twite. Deflected into Jake Saxton. Saxton on his backhand will spin around, try to center it to Pitts, and he scores.
Wow. Just right there, that entire sequence there was a testament to how they play without the ball.
Yeah, look at this here. We'll get a replay. Look at Saxton spin around in the corner. Spin, spin, spin. He'll see Pitts move into the slot, and Pitts just fires it in. A perfect play. I mean, it's very pretty to watch. You'll see right here, see Pitts, as soon as he sees Saxton spin, he'll move right into the slot. You think those two have played together before?
They must have. beautiful artistry.
Yeah.
Just watching.
Just impressed that Pitts knows the second that he sees Saxton spin to move into that slot. And no goal. Somehow Saxton wasn't able to get that wraparound goal in. As it just trickled along the goal line. Deflected away by Matt Limmergren. Now here's Jake Saxton. Saxton trying to stick handle in a phone booth right now. He'll eventually lose it.
Hey, if Superman can change in there, they can stick.
There's a long shot. Oh, what a good save. Now on the floor, and Liam Miller scores. For the goaltender from Minnesota. Mike, help me with the name again.
That was Gordy Foster is the goalie there.
Gordy Foster initially made the save, but unfortunately couldn't quite corral the rebound there. Foster not the usual goaltender from Minnesota. Again, a nice initial save, but just unfortunately couldn't hold that ball in his lap. Fell down, and just an easy put in there for Alex Pitts. For Liam Miller.
Yeah, Miller did a great job there. Any hockey you play, you want to be around that net, and Miller did a great job of just being at that net at the right time.
You never assume the goalie always makes the initial save. Always assume there's going to be a rebound, and unfortunately for Foster, he couldn't quite hang on to that one, gave up the rebound, and Miller was there to hit it home for Philadelphia. Now it's Jake Saxton. Both teams starting to empty their benches a little bit. Looks like Jake Saxton has left the floor. Another new forward on the surface for Philadelphia. I keep wanting to call it ice, so I got to come up with different words. And Miller deflects that up and out of play. New player into the game for Philadelphia. That is
Bryce Smith.
Bryce Smith in for Philadelphia. We'll try to get you the new Minnesota players that are in.
Yep, Chelsea Knutson is now playing forward as well.
Well, yeah, that's kind of a nice feather to put in your cap. You played some goalie and some forward all in the same game. It's like in baseball where you have the one guy that plays shortstop, outfield, pitcher, catcher all in the same game. I think Knutson played a little defense as well, so she may have played all three possessions in this game.
I think a lot of Minnesota players have played.
Yeah, Wimmergren certainly. I don't think they put Wimmergren at forward yet in this game. I know they did put him a little bit at forward in the Minnesota-Michigan game earlier. Now here is Liam Miller working his way into the zone. Miller on his backhand will stick handle behind the net. Bryce Smith sitting up there in the slot trying to get him the ball. And another new player on the floor for Philadelphia. We have, we'll get you the name and number in just a moment as soon as this play is over. Here's Josh Twite for the Saints. And he'll just deflect that one out of play. So Bryce Smith, the level 2 player for Philadelphia, seeing some action.
And just noticed number 10 for Philly coming in too. He's playing defense, and that is
Hisham Muhammad.
Hisham Muhammad. So he's going to get some action today.
It's been kind of nice to see during these day one games. In the Toronto-Ottawa game we had earlier, we saw both teams empty their benches, which is good to see sometimes. You know, getting some players some experience here on the big stage takes place only every other year. I know in the case in Philadelphia and Minnesota during their run in 2016, they didn't really get many chances to empty their benches at all. So this is a good chance to get some inexperienced players some action on the floor here on the big stage of the North American Power Hockey Cup. Almost halfway through the third period. All Philadelphia as they're on top of Minnesota 12-3. Now Minnesota trying to create some offense. There's Hafner digging for it. New player Muhammad trying to cover it up. Now still loose.
Leah Donahue is also in for number 4 for Philly as well.
Now here's Liam Miller. Both Pitts and Saxton have left the game, as I believe they're going to be off the rest of the way. Chad Wilson also done for the day for Minnesota. There's Liam Miller trying to stick handle around. Met there by Hafner. Hafner finds Twite. Twite across center ice. Lost his stick handle, and here comes an opportunity for Leah Donahue. Takes a shot and turned away by Minnesota. I think the Philadelphia fans would have exploded if Leah Donahue had a chance to score a goal.
So
that would have been
close.
fun for him.
Great stick save, though, by Cynthia Hughley.
Let's get a look at Leah's chance from just a moment ago. Game close.
It's great to see all the ladies involved in the sport and definitely contributing for
look
both
at her
teams.
take it away from Twite, and just wasn't able to get a whole lot on that shot. Kind of fanned on it.
They've turned Chad into a 3, and now he's a goalie.
Yeah, so if you're wondering, well, why does Chad Wilson have a stick taped to his wheelchair? The rule is, of course, in power hockey, I'm sure a lot of the familiar fans are used to it, but you can't have a level 1 player in goal. They have to be a level 2 or a level 3, so that's why Chad Wilson has a stick taped to his chair, because if he were holding it, then he would be back to a level 1 player. Now loose in front of the net, and Twite will gain possession. Backhands it up ahead for Hafner. Spinning around and trying to pass it to Twite. They'll fire a shot wide. Now into the corner, it's Philadelphia with it. Bryce Smith.
I think I've seen everything now this game.
Yeah. Chad Wilson in net for Minnesota. Certainly a different look for him.
It's like watching a dog walk upright. Just not used to
They're going to bring him up on, I thought they were going to bring him up on the attack as a level 3 player. When you're down 12-3, might as well try some different things. Why not?
It's that Arby's mix and match deal.
Mix and match, you got it. There's Liam Miller. Miller on his forehand. Try to pass it over to Leah Donahue. Now it's Bryce Smith. Has it poked away by Hafner. Smith will regain possession. Just under 6 minutes left. There's Smith back in. Smith takes a shot. He scores! Bryce Smith for Philadelphia.
Nice lift
Picks
shot.
up a goal, and it's 13-3. And let's get a look at the Bryce Smith goal. Going to weave around the defense. Just a good veteran play.
All these fancy goals by Philly, man.
Yeah.
Highlight reels.
And tough there for Chad Wilson, for a guy who I'm 99% sure has never played goalie before. Gets beat by Bryce Smith. So 13-3 power play. Now it's Liam Miller. Met by Twite. Now they try to center it back again to Bryce Smith. Leah Donahue also down there for the power play.
You know, playing goaltender is tough. You know, most goaltenders can't really see behind them, and that's a tough feeling. Yeah. You got to rely on your
any level of hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a skilled forward at ice hockey, or I should say floor hockey. You try playing goal, and you would probably struggle as well.
Oh yeah.
I certainly would myself. I'm normally a forward myself. That one deflected and just trickles wide on that shot from Bryce Smith. Bryce Smith, he would have gotten credit for that, even though it bounced off a Minnesota player, I think. Still loose, no goal. They're going to say a face-off. Philly fans, I've gotten most of your goals on replay. We'll post a highlight package for you coming up after the game. You can relive some of these that you saw in this opening game.
What does Minnesota need to do to regroup for their next game? I think they play tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, they do play tomorrow. Well, they don't get it off, even though they probably could use it to kind of regroup here.
Yeah.
They got to play both the Canadian teams. I forgot what order they go in. In fact, I think I might have it on my notes somewhere here. In fact, let's run down that schedule for tomorrow, as Minnesota will work with it into the offensive zone. So tomorrow, Ottawa and Minnesota will open things up at 11 o'clock local time in Michigan. That's 10 o'clock if you're watching in the Central Time Zone for Minnesota fans. And that, I think, could be a good game for Minnesota to kind of regroup. We talked about in the last game that Ottawa played in. They're a younger team that's missing a lot of their skill players. And there's a goal for Minnesota. It's going to, I think, be Hafner that perhaps picked it up.
We have Dan Hughley in goal now.
So Hughley getting a chance.
That's the brother to Joe.
Yeah, talking tomorrow, Minnesota, I think, has a good matchup tomorrow against Ottawa. As we talked about, Ottawa's kind of struggling a little bit as they're missing a lot of their offensive skill players. Although, as we noticed, they really work hard. They play some good defense. They'll make Minnesota work hard, but I think that's going to be a good game for the Saints to try to regroup and get back on the right foot. But then later in the afternoon, they have another tough challenge as they'll be facing the Toronto Rock. That's at 5 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. That'll be another tough game as Toronto, along with Philadelphia and Michigan, at this point, probably considered the favorites in this tournament.
We got Ben Hafner now in goal, and then Dan Hughley switched to being
How
forward.
about this? We got Chad Wilson playing some forward as a level 3. And did Wilson score? Nope, he got a face-off. Okay. That would have been a nice little feather to put in his cap.
Yeah.
You score a goal as both a level 1 and a level 3 player.
Who does Philly got tomorrow?
Philly will play. Well, actually, they don't. We shouldn't even talk about tomorrow. They play again tonight.
That's right.
They play the Toronto Rock coming up at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and that's going to be an interesting game to watch, I think, because we saw how much skill that Toronto Rock team has. They had to work for their goals against Ottawa. They're going to have another tough challenge against Philadelphia tonight. That's going to be a heck of a matchup, I think.
Yeah, tougher challenge, and definitely scoring-wise will be a challenge.
And a goal for Josh Twite at the 3:20 mark.
And then we got a new goalie for Philly.
We do have another new goalie. That is...
Trying to get his number there. It's wrinkled up there, and I can't see it.
Yeah, I can't quite catch it either. As they only have Aaron Gordon and Anthony D'Amico listed as goalies on the roster. This is probably a defenseman that's seeing some time in net. We'll see if we can pick up the name and number. Or if someone can maybe bail us out on the Facebook feed. I'm sure some of the Philadelphia fans know who that is.
My guess, it would be, I don't know. I guess.
Don't even venture a guess.
Nope. I'm not going to.
Well,
somebody help us out here.
This has been kind of an interesting third period, seeing some different goalies, players playing positions. And
Sean Hesser. Yep, Sean Hesser is in net now.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Got some help on the Facebook feed. Thank you. Yeah, trying to make sure we give credit to everyone that's entered the game. Here, Bryce Smith.
He's listed as a forward here. So
Bryce Smith had a goal earlier in this game. So as we approach the final 2:38, talk about what Minnesota needs to do tomorrow. Play better defense. They've given up a combined 24 goals today. They won't play again today, which probably is something that no one on that Minnesota squad will complain about. I think they kind of need a night to recharge the batteries, regroup, and come out with a new strategy coming up tomorrow when they take on the Ottawa Capitals. Philadelphia, as we said, still has another game later on tonight. That'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern as they'll be facing the Toronto Rock. That's going to be a fun game. That's going to be a close one, I'm guessing. That's at least my call. I won't tell you who's going to win. I just think Toronto and Philadelphia are going to have a very close game.
And then Jacob Ritter is now playing goalie.
Minnesota, I think, just about has played everybody on the roster in goal. I think.
Brett, you got to get down there.
Yeah. Well, I still haven't put Nathan Ritter in goal yet. Jacob Ritter will get his chance.
There's always time.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Twite's played a little goal. Wimmergren's played in goal. Chad Wilson has played in goal. A couple of the Hughley siblings have played in goal. They haven't put Hafner in goal yet either.
So they put him in goal.
Yeah, so Hafner's played some goal. Okay.
Yeah.
So Nathan better be down there lobbying to go in goal now too. If I'm the one guy who wasn't played goal yet on the roster, it's like, come on, coach, put me in.
It's good to see everybody get some playing time.
Yeah, we have another new player in the game for Philadelphia. That is can't quite catch that. We have D'Amico now actually playing up at forward for Philly. He started the game in goal. This is certainly like one of those baseball games where everyone plays every position on the floor.
Definitely. Fun to see. Good everybody get out there. Saints may not have wanted to score here, but
yeah, it's fun to have everyone play some different positions. But I got to ask, do you think Jake Saxton or Alex Pitts could play goalie?
I don't know. They put them in there. You know, see what happens.
Just throwing that out there. All right, here's Josh Dwight, number 81, 1:05 to go in the second period. Ball still loose in the corner. They're trying to dig it out. Dwight trying to work for another goal. He had one earlier in the third period. And he scores. Josh Dwight picks up another one for Minnesota as they make it 13-6.
You know what happens when you score? You get relegated to goal.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Josh Dwight goes to goal. Yep. It's kind of like gym class almost. Well, it's been kind of entertaining in the third period watching these guys play positions that they probably never dreamed of playing.
Yeah.
There's Jacob Ritter. Ritter loses stick handle. And now it's Bryce Smith. Smith has a goal for Philly, and now he might have a possible breakaway versus Josh Dwight. And turned away. Hafner will just swat it aside, and that's the end of the game as Philadelphia beats Minnesota by a score of 13-6. Not a result a lot of people saw coming, to say the least, but it is Philadelphia getting revenge for losing the past two championship games to Minnesota as they get a lopsided win over the Minnesota Saints. Philly goes to 1-0. Meanwhile, Minnesota drops to 0-2 to start off the tournament. That'll wrap up coverage for today. Again, we'll try to post as many highlights as we can. Those Philadelphia and Minnesota goals on Facebook. We'll hopefully do that within the next few minutes. In the meantime, though, stay tuned. Coming up on Facebook, Patrick Lilia back on the call as Ottawa will face Michigan. That's coming up next here at the 2018 Power Hockey Cup.